Hello there, Qckslvrslash, and today I've got a battleship game for you, and it is the Tier 9 Izumo. A bit of a break from all the cruiser replays I've been sharing of late, and that's because it's another ship I've been driving a lot. I've been trying to get the Yamato just to finish off another line. Today I managed to get myself the gearing finally, so I'm slowly starting to tick through all these Tier 9s and get them finished. As you can see from the deck of the ship, this is the Sea Hull, and I've got the upgraded fire control, but I did not yet have the upgraded engines at the time of this game, and that's why I'm running all the camos and flags, is to just every little boost to get through this thing quicker. I'm playing alongside Flying Goomba, who is in his Kagero, and we got a very fortunate matchup on Estuary. A little disappointed to see Estuary again. I think we got this map 4 or 5 times in a row. It just seems to be the way World of Warships works sometimes. So I throw my plane up to try to take an early shot at a Miyoko, and that is really weird. I was trying to follow the shells and it jumped to somewhere else. But you can see I just ended up missing, and that wasn't bad a dispersion or anything, it was just slightly off-place aim. So one of the things you definitely got to watch out for driving these higher tier battleships is their detectability. You can see when I fire, that goes out to 31k. So you're gonna get spotted, and right now I'm being spotted by this destroyer way the heck over here. And as such, for the most part, you're almost always spotted, and you just have to be aware of that, especially early on when approaching things like these narrows fairly tightly for torpedoes. And it's amazing how many times I get ships in this gap or this gap, just chucking them there. There's no one spotted, and I just throw them into the gap. So you can see, stop up behind the island, basically waiting for Flying Goomba to spot something. And I'm going to apologize to you right now, Goomba. Yes, I'm using another video where you explode, and you guys will all see that in a few minutes here. So, enemy Izumo, unfortunately, I was a little too far back to shoot at him. I was expecting things to get spotted in this area over here where this island wouldn't really get in my way. But I'm confident now that no torpedoes are coming in at me, so I kick it into full gear and try to drive out and get shots at the Izumo. Then I see a Fubuki, target my secondaries onto him, and they start blasting away because these are the manually targeted. It's how I've gone on this, and I managed to connect with some good shells, trying to help Goomba out in this gunfight. Unfortunately, as you're going to see very quickly, the Fubuki has a lot more help than Goomba does. And as a result, Goomba's gonna die, and it's a little unfortunate. I maybe could have shot at that Fubuki one more time, but seeing this Shora's side on, I decided to throw the shells at him instead, and Goomba's dead. And it really sucked, and you'll see the Fubuki boasting in chat about how his guns are superior to Kagero's, and he's never gonna sell the thing. And I think he honestly believes that. It just came down to the amount of support. I was the only ship Goomba had that took any shots of that Fubuki other than him, whereas Goomba was getting eaten up by some shores and some other things in there. And while I did manage a citadel on that shores as he disappeared into the smoke, it was too little too late. So once again, I'm stuck kind of parking this big beast behind an island. Luckily, I do have things to shoot at in the form of that Scharnhorst, and trying to get an angle there and just decide that I don't have it. So I'm just waiting, seeing if any torpedoes are coming my way. I do have shots behind me, so no mad rush for me to try to go driving out and eat torps. I'm safe here. I can control the engagement. Right now, the only thing that's going to be able to shoot at me is this Tirpitz when he clears the edge of land, and his guns aren't even pointed my way. So I fire off at him, and just kind of try to decide what to do next. 2,500 damage definitely a little less than I wanted to do. And with the arrival of this Kagero, clearly I'm not going to be sitting around here anymore. I target him with the secondaries and just look at them blasting away. And even though that's a destroyer, granted he's only 5k away, they're racking up hits. I fire my main guns, and basically just try to let those secondaries go to work. And there it is. And that is the reason I have secondary build on this line, is this and the Yamato just have a ridiculous number of secondaries, really good range on them, and really good rate of fire, so you manage to kill things pretty easily. So I switch their focus over to the Hatsuharu as I come around the corner at him, ready to ace him with my mains, but then I see Itiltoof in his shores. I spray him because, I'd rather finish the shores off than that DD, who ended up going unspotted before I would have got a shot off. I get some revenge for Goomba, and gonna start turning out because, well, there's a destroyer there. You can't drive in a straight line. So one of the things you'll notice me doing in my battleship is trying to pick the target that is presenting me the best shot. And there are times to do this, times not. When it's early in a game like this, a lot of times it can be better to focus something down, but without too many teammates near me, there really isn't a ton for me to focus down on. My shells end up being a large portion of it. So I'm going to pick and choose the targets I think I can do a ton of damage to, rather than shoot it, something that's bow in that I know I'm not going to overmatch. And just try to get the absolute most out of my shells that I can. Now, unfortunately, I eat a torpedo from probably the Miyoko, but I can't quite guess. There could have been a DD up there as well. And 16,000 damage. Luckily, I can repair about 16,000 from all the hits I've taken so far. And now I'm going to go to work on this Fuso. And it's right here I get a bit of a laugh, because you'll notice right in front of me we've got a Tirpitz running away from what was a Fuso and a Miyoko. I don't know if he was entirely running. I kind of poke fun at him in chat. Maybe he just felt he had a different target to chase. I really don't know. But no reason a Tirpitz should ever be afraid of a Fuso. You go nose in, get close enough, drop the torps in the water if you don't feel comfortable using your guns. And this Fuso's in a bad place. He's just about in secondary range already, and definitely in primary battery range. Waiting for him to turn a bit more, fire the guns off, and get a Citadel. Nice! Almost killing him, which means I'm going to stop shooting at him. I could weave over and use a secondary, but I've targeted my secondary, or weave over and use my third turret, not a secondary, but I've targeted my secondaries onto him, and I'm just going to let them work him down while I maybe pick on a cruiser. But it looks like on second thought I decide to use those main guns and absolutely botch the shot. Hopefully this one goes a little better, and it does. And maybe it's here that I finally decide, you know what? Secondaries have this guy. I've got teammates behind me. I don't need to waste another volley of primary shells on him. I did eat a lot of damage there, showing more than I should have, and it was me getting a bit careless. It's a tier 6 and a tier 9 match. He came in with someone in a platoon. Who'd he come with? He came in with the Hatsuharu. So, I mean, technically the Hatsu can get into this match, and as a destroyer that would have been fine. But he dragged a Fuso into a tier 9, and the Fuso is a good ship. But but... it's not going to overpower me. I lob some shells at the turrets, only one penetrating hit, and these guns just don't seem to behave very well sometimes. And it should be no surprise, there's definitely a DD in this smoke. Anyone who's paying attention would know that's no one on my team. There's a DD there, and I'm aware of it too. It's just those little cues that some people seem to miss, and it ends up costing them. Managed to put a single shell into the Izumo, and then I target it with my secondaries, and you're going to notice my secondaries will keep firing. And it's because the loft on those secondary shells is much higher, so they can get over that ledge and start getting some more hits as I focus on this cruiser. And sadly only do 1,000 damage to them. I think my secondaries are doing better than I am right now. But that doesn't mean I'm not about to have a second shot at getting this Miyoko. And then he starts turning. So I start reconsidering, maybe I should just try to get this Izumo. They're about to drive out, and Goomba and I were on comms. He was watching those torps from the Gneiss now and was basically like, yep, Izumo's gonna eat them all. So, bring the guns back over, try to hit this Miyoko, and I know that destroyer's there. Finally he gets spotted, put the secondaries onto him, and I'm just gonna go charging around the corner. I know the destroyer's going to be setting up to put torps in the water at me, but this match is pretty much over, and I'm hoping to get the kill on him. Definitely a bit greedy, but when you're at this point in the game, you can try to be a little greedy and take bigger risks. If this were earlier on and I did something like this, I would be calling myself an idiot, but because it's 2 ships left, neither of which are going to have the chance at overpowering, I'm not as worried. And unfortunately someone else gets the kill, so then I'm left to shoot at the Miyoko. I put the shells in the air, my rudder was already hard over because I knew the torpedoes were coming, and I can afford to eat 1 or 2 of these. Luckily, I don't have to. And whether by skill or luck, I don't eat those torpedoes as I finish that Miyoko off, and great game, 393,000 credits, nearly 13,000 experience because of the ongoing challenges, which I'm loving. Great for grinding through. Gotta get those. If you win, you get a 200% bonus up to 5 times a day. 114,000 damage, 3 kills, and 4 citadels. And really good to have another solid game after that evening of just losses and terrible teams. To have a win felt great. And as far as the team, I came on top of it, but it was a solid performance by everyone. We never really got overrun. No one melted on any side. And we just progressively pushed through their team. And you can see a lot of us came away alive. And moving on to the credits, I walked home with 228,000 credits and 12,766, a little more for the commander. And it felt good to have another good game. I can't express, and I know everyone knows exactly how frustrating it is to play a solid game and just have your team melt. And then to have that happen for an entire evening, you just want to give up. And I always try to just push through to get a couple good videos so that I can give you guys something every day. And it's great when you have things like this where you just have a couple games in a row that seem to go well, and this was one of them. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, consider giving me a thumbs up or subscribing to the channel. Both help me stay motivated to fight through those bad streaks, to get the better games and the good footage to share with you, and those just more entertaining that way. I'm going to remind everyone, if you've got your own replays, upload them to World of Warships replays or send them to my email, Qckslvrslash@gmail.com. I'd love to share your guys' replays with everyone who watches this channel. And as always, I'm Qckslvrslash, and I'll have another one for you guys tomorrow.